Have you ever felt most alone in a crowded room surrounded by voices, laughter, the buzz of connection, yet feeling like you're watching from behind glass? There's something about you that craves silence in a world that worships noise. And you've probably been told in 1,000 subtle ways that this makes you strange, defective, less than. But what if I told you that your need for solitude isn't the problem? What if it's actually the solution the world doesn't want you to find? From the moment we can walk and talk, we're taught that our worth is measured by how well we perform socially. The charismatic child gets praised. The quiet one gets pulled aside with concern. We learn that visibility equals value, that silence equals something wrong. You grow up feeling like you're failing at being human simply because you recharge differently than others expect. Perhaps you've spent years apologizing for who you are, forcing smiles at gatherings that drain your soul, filling silences with words that feel foreign in your mouth, playing a character in your own life because the script was written for someone else. And with each performance, something inside you grows more exhausted. Not physically tired, but soul tired. The kind of weariness that comes from betraying yourself day after day. The world tells you to network, to be visible, to build your personal brand. But every fiber of your being resists. Not because you're antisocial or damaged, but because somewhere deep inside, you know that this path leads away from yourself rather than toward it. You sense that the noise is drowning out something essential, something true. There was a Swiss psychiatrist who understood this better than most. Someone who spent his life mapping the invisible architecture of the human psyche and discovered something revolutionary. He recognized that the person who seeks solitude isn't running from life, but returning to it, returning to themselves. His name was Carl Jung, and he made a distinction that changes everything. He saw clearly the difference between loneliness and solitude. Loneliness is the ache of disconnection, the wound of unwanted isolation. But solitude is sanctuary. It's the deliberate choice to step away from the noise so you can finally hear something more important. Your own voice, your own truth, the whispers of your deepest self that get drowned out by the demands of the world. Your soul isn't broken. It speaks a different language. And perhaps you're here because you're tired of translating yourself for others, tired of dimming your need for depth to accommodate surfaces. You're ready to understand why you're built this way, and more importantly, why that's not just okay, but essential. You are not alone in choosing to be alone. There are others like you, walking this path of conscious solitude, reclaiming something the culture tried to train out of them. And this journey we're about to take together will show you exactly what that is. If this already resonates with something deep inside you, I invite you to subscribe. Join others who are discovering that their difference isn't a deficit, but a doorway. To understand yourself, you need to understand how your psyche is wired. Jung spent decades studying what he called psychological types, and at the core of his theory was a simple but profound observation. Some people direct their energy inward, others direct it outward. Neither is better or worse. They're just fundamentally different orientations toward life. The introvert's mind moves like water flowing into depths. They absorb experience, intensively processing layers that others skip over. When they listen to you speak, they're not just hearing your words. They're reading your micro-expressions, catching the hesitation before your sentence, feeling the emotion beneath your smile. They're processing more data in a single conversation than most people process in an entire day. This is why small talk feels like sandpaper on the soul. It's not because introverts are snobs or antisocial. It's because their nervous system is wired for depth, and shallow interaction creates a kind of psychic dissonance. They're instruments built to hear symphonies being asked to appreciate elevator music. Each superficial exchange is like playing a complex piece of music on a single note, frustrating, unfulfilling, a waste of their capacity. The extrovert, by contrast, expands outward. They recharge through external stimulation, through the energy of others, through movement and action. They process by talking, by engaging, by bouncing thoughts off the world. Their energy multiplies in company the way the introvert's energy multiplies in solitude. Neither way is superior. They're simply different instruments in the orchestra of human consciousness. But here's where the damage begins. Western culture was built by and for extroverts. Our schools reward the child who speaks up, not the one who thinks deeply before answering. Our workplaces celebrate the loud networker, not the quiet innovator, who needs uninterrupted time to create. Our social structures assume that everyone wants to be seen, heard, included in every gathering. Think about how classrooms are designed. Group projects valued over individual work. Participation grades that punish silence. Open floor plans in offices that eliminate privacy. Team building exercises that force intimacy. Performance reviews that measure your visibility rather than the quality of your thinking. Every structure reinforces the same message: be louder, be more social, be constantly available, or be left behind. This creates what we might call the extrovert ideal. The belief that leadership success and human value itself are tied to charisma, visibility, and constant social engagement. And when a culture elevates one way of being as the standard, everyone else becomes a deviation, a problem to be fixed, something to overcome through therapy, coaching, or sheer willpower. For the introvert, this is a form of psychological violence. Imagine being a fish your entire life and being judged on your ability to climb trees. That's what it feels like to be an introvert in a world designed for extroverts. You're not failing at being an extrovert. You're succeeding at being yourself in a system that doesn't recognize your design. The damage runs deep. Introverted children grow up believing they need to change. Teenagers force themselves into social situations that feel like torture, thinking this will make them normal. Adults spend decades in careers that slowly erode their sense of self because they've been told that's what success looks like. The cost is immeasurable: depression, anxiety, a creeping sense of fraudulence, the feeling that you're always acting, never truly present. This is where Carl Jung empath and personal development intersect beautifully. Jung recognized that introverts often possess a heightened empathic sensitivity. They feel the emotional undercurrents in a room. They absorb others' moods like radio receivers. They can sense tension, dishonesty, or hidden pain that others miss entirely. This isn't weakness, it's refined perception. But in a culture that doesn't understand this, such sensitivity becomes a burden to hide, rather than a gift to cultivate. Your sensitivity is not weakness, it's sophisticated perception. The problem isn't that you feel too much, it's that you've been placed in environments that overstimulate your finely tuned system. You're not defective, you're just in the wrong environment operating against your nature. And when you operate against your nature for too long, something happens. You begin to split. On the outside, you perform the role of the social creature. On the inside, your authentic self grows quieter, smaller, more hidden. Jung called this tension the gap between persona and self. The persona is the mask you wear to survive socially. The self is who you actually are beneath all conditioning. The wider this gap becomes, the more fragmented you feel, the more exhausted, the more lost. You look in the mirror and don't recognize the person looking back because you've spent so long being someone else. You've memorized the lines of a character that isn't you, and now you can't remember your own script. But there's something deeper happening when you feel called to solitude. Something your psyche is trying to tell you. A wisdom that's been waiting for you to listen. Solitude isn't just rest, it's a portal. When you finally quiet the external world, when you stop performing and pleasing and adapting, something remarkable happens. You begin to hear the voice of your unconscious mind. Jung mapped the psyche like an archaeologist maps ruins. At the surface, there's your conscious awareness, everything you know about yourself. Just below that lies the personal unconscious, all the memories and experiences you've forgotten or repressed. And deeper still, the collective unconscious, the inherited patterns and symbols shared by all humanity. Most people never descend below the surface. They live their entire lives in the shallows, distracted, busy, constantly stimulated. But solitude creates the conditions for descent. In silence, things rise from the depths. Dreams become vivid. Intuitions sharpen. Parts of yourself you've been ignoring start speaking. This is why solitude can feel uncomfortable at first. You're not just resting, you're confronting. You're meeting what you've been running from. The shadow parts, the uncomfortable truths, the dreams you abandoned, the pain you never processed. Most people stay busy specifically to avoid this encounter. But you're brave enough to sit with it. There's a process Jung dedicated his life to understanding. He called it individuation. It's the journey of becoming who you actually are not, who your parents, your culture, or your fears have shaped you to be. It's the excavation of your authentic self from beneath layers of conditioning. Individuation is not easy. It requires you to question everything you were taught about who you should be. It asks you to disappoint people who benefited from your compliance. It demands that you face parts of yourself you've spent years avoiding. But the alternative is far worse. The alternative is living your entire life as someone else's idea of you. Dying with your song still inside you, unsung. And here's the crucial insight: you cannot individuate in constant company. The crowd will always pull you toward conformity. The voices of others will always drown out your own inner voice. Transformation requires withdrawal. The caterpillar doesn't become a butterfly in the middle of a party. It retreats into the cocoon. It turns inward. It dissolves and reconstitutes itself in sacred solitude. Think about every hero's journey you've ever heard. There's always a moment of withdrawal. The spiritual seeker goes to the mountain. The warrior trains in isolation. The artist locks themselves in the studio. The mystic enters the desert. This pattern repeats across cultures and centuries because it reflects a psychological truth. Transformation cannot happen in the marketplace. It happens in the cave. You're not escaping life by choosing solitude. You're preparing to live it fully. You're doing the inner work that most people avoid their entire lives. And this work creates something rare and powerful: psychological self-sufficiency. Psychological self-sufficiency means you can generate meaning, satisfaction, and purpose from within. You don't need constant external validation to know your worth. You don't need others to complete you because you're learning to be whole on your own. This doesn't mean you don't value relationships. It means you enter relationships from fullness, not from need. And this terrifies the system. Self-sufficient people can't be easily manipulated. They don't buy things they don't need to fill voids that don't exist. They don't follow leaders blindly. They don't conform to trends that contradict their values. They question. They observe. They choose consciously. Your solitude is making you dangerous to everything false. Look at history. The people who changed the world often valued solitude deeply. Jung himself built a tower at Bollingen, where he could retreat from the world to work on his ideas. Einstein needed long walks alone. Tesla worked in isolation. Emily Dickinson barely left her house. Thoreau withdrew to Walden Pond. These weren't antisocial hermits. They were people who understood that creativity, insight, and innovation require internal space. The muse speaks in silence, not noise. Your best ideas will come when you protect time alone. Your deepest knowing emerges when you stop seeking answers outside yourself. This is the creative power of solitude, and it's available to you the moment you stop apologizing for needing it. But solitude also asks something difficult of you. It asks you to meet your shadow. The shadow is everything you've denied, repressed, or hidden about yourself. The parts you were taught were unacceptable. The anger you learned to suppress. The desires you were told were selfish. The aspects of yourself that don't fit the image you've carefully constructed. In solitude, the shadow emerges, and it can be uncomfortable, painful even. You might discover rage you didn't know you carried, grief you never allowed yourself to feel, desires that shame has kept hidden, parts of you that are messy, chaotic, or socially unacceptable. But integration is healing. When you can acknowledge and accept all parts of yourself, even the dark ones, you become whole. The shadow isn't evil, it's just unseen. And what remains unseen controls you from the depths. It leaks out in unexpected ways. In passive aggression, when you can't express anger. In self-sabotage, when you can't admit your desires. In projection, when you can't own your flaws. But when you turn toward the shadow in solitude, when you say, yes, this is also me, the unconscious material loses its power over you. As one ancient wisdom suggests, you don't become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. This is shadow work, and it's some of the most important work you'll ever do. Not comfortable, but transformative. Not easy, but necessary. Your willingness to face yourself in the silence is the bravest act. Most people will do anything to avoid this encounter. They'll stay distracted, busy, numbed. But you're choosing differently, and that choice changes everything. Understanding solitude is one thing. Living as a conscious solitary in a noisy world is another. So let's talk about integration. How do you honor your need for solitude while still functioning in a society that demands constant participation? First, you must learn discernment. There's a difference between healthy solitude and fearful isolation. Healthy solitude is chosen. It replenishes you. You emerge from it feeling clearer, stronger, more yourself. Fearful isolation is a prison. You hide in it because you're scared of judgment, rejection, or connection. One expands your capacity for life, the other contracts it. Ask yourself honestly, does your alone time nourish or deplete you? Do you retreat to recharge or to avoid? This distinction matters. Jung emphasized balance, knowing when to engage with the world and when to withdraw. Neither extreme total isolation nor constant socialization serves your growth. The wisdom is in knowing which you need at any given moment. And you do have that wisdom. You've always had it. You just need to trust it again. Your body tells you when it needs rest. Your psyche tells you when it needs solitude. The signal is there. You've just been trained to ignore it. This brings us to boundaries. For many introverts, setting boundaries feels almost impossible. You've been conditioned to please, to accommodate, to say yes, when everything inside you screams, no. You fear being seen as rude, cold, or selfish. But boundaries aren't selfishness. They're self-respect. Think of it this way. Every time you say yes when you mean no, you're betraying yourself. You're teaching others that your needs don't matter. You're reinforcing the belief that your comfort is less important than theirs. And over time, this creates resentment, not toward them, but toward yourself for not protecting what's precious. Your time alone is not negotiable. It's essential. It's as necessary as sleep or food. You wouldn't apologize for needing to eat, so why apologize for needing solitude? Start practicing saying no without guilt. No, I can't make that gathering. No, I need tonight alone. No, I don't want to explain myself further. This will feel uncomfortable at first. Some people won't understand. they might take it personally. Let them. Their comfort is not your responsibility. Your well-being is. And the right people, the ones who truly care about you, will respect your boundaries, even if they don't fully understand them. Here's a truth that might help. When you set a boundary and someone gets angry, they're revealing that they benefited from you having no boundaries. They liked being able to access you whenever they wanted. They enjoyed your compliance. Your boundary disrupts their expectation, and they don't like it. But that's not your problem to solve. Speaking of the right people, let's talk about selective connection. Quality over quantity is the introvert's relational philosophy. You don't need dozens of friends. You need a few who meet you in the depths, who don't require performance, who can sit with you in comfortable silence and understand that silence is its own form of intimacy. Look for these green flags, people who respect your rhythm, who don't pressure you to be different, who value depth over small talk, who understand that your absence isn't rejection. People who, when you do show up, make you feel like you can breathe, who see you not the mask you've worn for survival. Avoid the red flags. Those who drain you, demand constant availability, make you feel guilty for your needs, or can't handle your complexity. People who say things like, "Why are you so quiet?" or "You're no fun anymore," or "You're being antisocial." These people don't love you. They love what you do for them. You deserve relationships that honor all of you. The introverted parts and the parts that sometimes want connection. Both are valid. Both are you. Now, practically speaking, how do you create a life that works with your nature rather than against it? Start with your physical space. Create a sanctuary, a place that's entirely yours where you can retreat and recharge. Doesn't have to be large or expensive, just intentional. Fill it with things that feed your soul. Books, art, music, silence, whatever speaks to you. Your sanctuary is where you return to yourself, where you shed the day's personas, where you can be messy, complicated, wholly yourself without judgment. Protect this space fiercely. Then structure your time. Build solitude into your schedule like you'd build in any other non-negotiable commitment. Protect these hours fiercely. This is when you do your inner work, your creative work, your healing. This is sacred time. If someone asks you to do something during your solitude hours, the answer is no. Not maybe. Not let me think about it. Just no. And please set digital boundaries. Nothing destroys solitude faster than constant notifications. Your phone is a portal through which the entire world demands your attention. Every ping is someone else's agenda interrupting your peace. Close the portal. Create hours where you're unreachable, where your mind can wander without interruption, where silence is actually silent. Try this. For one evening each week, turn your phone completely off. Not on silent. Off. Notice what happens. The first few minutes might feel uncomfortable. You might reach for it habitually. But then something shifts. You settle into deeper presence. Time expands. Your thoughts become your own again. For those navigating work, I know it's complex. Not all of us have jobs that honor solitude, but you can find ways to thrive. If you're in a profession that allows it, seek roles that offer autonomy, deep focus time, and minimal performative socialization. Writing, research, programming, certain therapeutic practices, these often suit the introverted mind. If you're in a more extroverted role, strategize. Front-load social interactions when your energy is highest. Schedule recovery time after demanding meetings. Communicate your needs to managers when possible. Many workplaces are beginning to understand that different people work differently. You might be surprised at the accommodations available if you ask. And remember, your way of working has irreplaceable value. You bring careful observation, deep thinking, and thoughtful contribution that others miss in their rush to action. While others are talking, you're noticing. While they're performing, you're perceiving. The world needs both types. Don't apologize for being yours. One more honest moment here. Sometimes solitude surfaces grief, old wounds, loneliness that's different from chosen solitude. This is part of the healing, not evidence that something's wrong. Solitude is a container for emotional processing. When you stop running, the feelings catch up. And that's okay. That's necessary. If the feelings become overwhelming, please seek support. A therapist, especially one trained in Jungian approaches, can guide you through the depths safely. There's strength in knowing when you need a companion for the journey. You can love solitude and still feel lonely sometimes. Both can be true. Your feelings are valid, all of them. Here's what they don't tell you about choosing yourself. When you stop performing, when you honor your nature, when you refuse to shrink for others' comfort, you do something revolutionary. You give permission. Permission for others to do the same. Every person who stops pretending weakens the system of false conformity. Your authenticity creates ripples. Someone watching you honor your need for solitude might finally honor their own. Someone seeing you set boundaries might find the courage to do the same. Someone witnessing your refusal to apologize for who you are might remember they don't have to apologize either. This is how healing spreads, not through grand gestures, but through quiet acts of self-loyalty. This is where Carl Jung, empath, and personal development becomes not just personal, but collective. Jung understood that individuation serves both the self and society. When you become whole, you contribute something essential to the world. Not another performer, not another people pleaser, but an authentic human being with a clear center and genuine presence. And that presence changes every room you enter, even if you enter it quietly. Think about the people who have most impacted your life. Were they the loudest, the most visible, or were they the ones who seemed deeply grounded in themselves, who spoke less but meant more, who had a quality of presence that made you feel seen? Wholeness is magnetic. It doesn't need to perform. It simply is. Imagine a society that honored both introverts and extroverts, where workplaces had quiet spaces and optional socializing, where education didn't punish silence or reward only the loud, where relationships were built on respect, not expectation, where people could be exactly who they are without apology, where solitude was seen as a sign of strength, not weakness, where depth was valued as much as visibility. This might sound utopian, but it's already beginning. More companies are recognizing that creativity requires uninterrupted time. More schools are understanding that some children learn better alone than in groups. More people are questioning the tyranny of constant connectivity. You're part of this shift. Every boundary you set, every moment you choose yourself, you're voting for a different world. You are helping create this world. Every boundary you set, every time you choose solitude without guilt, every moment you stop performing, you're building the reality you needed when you were younger. You're becoming the permission you wish someone had given you. You're showing others that there's another way to be human. A quieter way, a deeper way, a truer way. This journey of conscious solitude is ultimately about becoming whole, about integrating the parts you've hidden and owning the parts you've denied, about recognizing that your need for silence, your depth, your sensitivity, these aren't flaws in your design. They're features. They're exactly what makes you you. The path continues beyond this moment. Solitude isn't a destination, but a practice. Self-reflection becomes a way of life. Creativity becomes your expression. Boundaries become your daily commitment. Selective connection becomes your relational standard. And slowly, piece by piece, you find yourself. The self that was always there, waiting beneath the performance. This is Carl Jung, empath, and personal development at its most transformative. Not fixing yourself, not becoming someone else, but excavating who you've always been beneath the conditioning. Returning to your original design, trusting the wisdom of your own psyche, remembering that you were whole before the world taught you to fragment. You're not broken, you're becoming. And becoming takes time, takes solitude, takes courage. But you have all three. You're already on the path. The fact that you're here, that you've read this far, proves something essential. You're ready. Ready to stop apologizing. Ready to trust your nature. Ready to live from your truth. The work ahead is both challenging and sacred. There will be moments when you doubt yourself, when the pressure to conform feels overwhelming, when you wonder if you're being too sensitive, too quiet, too much. In those moments, remember this: your solitude is not a retreat from life, but a return to it. Your silence carries more truth than the world's noise. Your depth is a gift, not a burden. If you're still here, you know this message is for you. Trust the call of silence. It's not pulling you away from life. It's leading you back to it, only now, in a way that makes sense to who you actually are. Honor the rhythm that's yours. Protect the space you need. Build the life that lets you breathe. Tell me in the comments, what does your solitude teach you? What have you discovered in the silence? What permission are you giving yourself? Your voice matters. Your experience matters. Share it with others who need to hear it. Let them know they're not alone in this. Like this if it resonated. Subscribe to continue this journey. Share it with someone who needs permission to be alone. You're not alone in choosing solitude. You're part of a growing community of people reclaiming their right to inner space, to silence, to depth to themselves. Together, we're building a world that honors all ways of being human. Your next video is waiting. Keep going. What comes next might be exactly what you need to hear. See you in the silence.